Hey y'all, it's Elisha and welcome back to Elisha's Crafty Hoplop. I gotta sit on my hands, y'all. I was almost finished our little craft tip tutorial video and I ruined it right at the end because I moved too much. So if I'm a little awkwardly controlled in this video, it's so I don't ruin the video. All right, y'all, let's start again with what do you do? Because now many of you wrote to me and said, oh no, I bought the white core. What do I do? Well, Elsa Cleary offered you one of her solutions right away. She right away shared that she too had had this experience and she was so frustrated with it. So what did she do? Well, this is a piece of solid core, as you know, because you saw me fold it earlier. She decided to keep the white core as a card base, and to cover the white, she went along it with inking markers, like alcohol ink markers, to color in the white. Now, she said she did not like the way it looked. And also, you have to be pretty practiced at it to keep it neat, but it was a way that let her get through the cardstock. So that's one solution. She was saying it is a solution. It's one I hated, and it upset me, and to me it looked messy, but it's an option. It's true. I've seen other people do it that way too. There's another option. Right now at the Dollar Tree, they're selling a gold, a silver, a white, or an amethyst paint pen. It's actually quite a decent paint pen for $1. It's not expert level, art level paint pen, but for what we're about to talk about, it's great for $1. Jelly Bean sometimes, and other crafters too, will gild the edge of their cards all the way around, and it looks very pretty. And they use the paint pen for that. That's a way you could cover up the white, but it has to match the aesthetic. So you see, that suits Jelly Bean style of crafting. It depends on what kind of crafter you are and what colors you're using. So, if you're a clean crafter and you're doing a mermaidy thing with more silvers and they only have that paint pen in gold, it might not look very nice. But it is an option. The paint pen is an option to cover up the white. Again, you're going to have to be very neat about it. Jelly Bean has a very controlled hand. When she does it, it just looks lovely. It just looks like this beautiful gilding on the edges of her pages. That's an option. There's a much easier option, but it requires going and buying a stack of cardstock. And here's what it is. You could go and invest in one pack of solid core cardstock. You could either get white because it's super versatile and it could always be ink stained, or it could be painted, and it gives you lots of options. And you could use the white core as a layering piece on top until you've used it all up. That's one option. And it's a pretty good option because you will eventually use it, because people pay a lot less attention. So if you, for instance, if you made your card at a solid core, you have none of that awful white that looks very unprofessional all the way around. You use the white core as your colorful pattern, or just as a layering piece. It could be pink or whatever, and then put a pattern paper on top. It'll look pretty and nobody will pay attention to that edge. That's a really reasonable option. So go and find yourself some solid core cardstock on sale, and that way you'll use up your white core as a layering piece. That's a great option. The other option, which I've seen people do, and it's a smart one, is they went and bought solid core cardstock, either in white or a baby pink or whatever color they know they're going to use the most, and use that for their card making. And they put aside their white core cardstock to use for bag toppers. It's a really clever idea for two reasons. One is, a card is something that most of us keep. Like any card somebody sends me, I put on display for a month, a whole month at least. During Christmas, it's almost 2 months. Then I rotate them. I'm actually just clearing it now to put up the new ones. But I keep every card people send me, and I put it in an art journal. So cards are things people keep. So you don't want your card to be unfinished or look unprofessional. But a bag topper is what we call a temporary craft. Most people don't keep other people's bag toppers. A lot of us either try to reuse them because we want to be able to reuse everything and recycle, but a lot of the time bag toppers just get tossed out. So no one's going to be paying that much attention to the white on a bag topper, and it won't matter. So that's another way to use up your white core. So that way you're not wasting it. So those are all really viable solutions. You can ink it, you can use it as a layering piece, or you can make bag toppers out of it, or you can paint edge it. Those are your options. There's basically 4 options to help you get rid of that cardstock. And I know it's upsetting and these are painful lessons, and that's why we're going to do this series, because we all learned. How do we have these options for you? Because we've all gone through it. And so we figured out what to do with it, and that's how we can share it with you. I will tell you, I'm going to try to keep this video under 15 minutes. I will tell you that the biggest mistake I made, the very biggest mistake I made when I first started crafting, was my scoreboard and cutter. And if you've been with me a while, you know that that is true. I thought I had hit the jackpot. I bought the very large We Are Memory Keepers cutter / scoreboard at Tuesday Morning for an excellent price, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. I could not score half the time on that thing accurately. I would follow the Posh Lady's tutorial, and I knew it was a great tutorial, and I just couldn't get that thing to score. Well, first of all, it comes with a terrible bone folder, and it's not really a scoring tool. You shouldn't use either of those if you can help it. You need a proper bone folder, and proper bone folders are not expensive. And a score tool today you can get at the Dollar Tree for $1. And I'm going to come to some bargains that are fantastic that you can go out and get. You don't need to spend a lot of money on. But that wasn't the problem. I had a score tool. It was that no matter what, if it was at the 8 or the 7 or the 6 3/4, it was off. Then one day I was watching Tony Craft Perch, and she had the same board cutter, and she had the same problem. And on screen, she had the same problem I had, and she kept slipping. And she said she hated this thing because of that. And I thought, oh my goodness, I have that problem every day. Like, I really thought I couldn't make a carton because I couldn't score it properly. Okay, not only that, but the blades had to be replaced a lot more often. A lot more often. So here I was, all proud of myself, thinking I got the bargain of a century. Everyone else paid like $40 for their stuff, and I got mine at the Tuesday Morning. I think I paid $16. Yeah, there was no bargain involved. I used that thing for 2 years. It was a nightmare. A nightmare. So I was so mad at myself for it that I made myself suffer through it and learn how to do stuff with it. And so did Tony. We were both like a bit stubborn this way. We were like, it's our own fault. It's our own fault. We cheaped out. We made a mistake. We made a mistake. So now we want to share with you what you should invest in. And it's not that all We Are Memory Keeper stuff isn't good. That particular product stinks. I'll tell you why, and both Tony and I realized it. It's because it folds for putting away. Oh, that's a nice feature, except it ruins the scoring. Because the folding mechanism is right between like the 4, I think, and the 7 or 8. And so it affects, when you go to score, it ruins it and makes you slide. It's terrible. So I did a lot of consulting with everybody, and everybody said I really should get the Caterpillar because I cut a lot of thick chipboard. And Crafty Michelle had said to me yes, and I had talks with lots of bookmakers about it. And they're right, I should. But it's $100, and the cheapest one is $70. And I was like, I'm not ready to make that investment yet. I'm just not. There are other things I want to buy. But I also don't want to make a mistake. Well, Miss Judy alerted me to a couple of cutters by Fiskars that were very reasonably priced. And as long as you're careful and patient, you can cut through chipboard. And I was like, okay, and how reliable are they? But everyone I talked to swore by both these cutters. You know what? I maybe need a Caterpillar long term, but these are fabulous. In comparison to what I was using, they're heaven. Okay, let me show them to you. So, because if you don't cut a lot of thick chipboard, you will not need a guillotine cutter. I cut a lot of chipboard. So I use thick chipboard, not thin. I do use thin for some things too, but I use heavyweight chipboard. If you don't do a lot of that kind of crafting, you will not need to also get a guillotine cutter. If you get a guillotine cutter, I highly recommend that you get one like a Fiskars. This I have to cut through on one side of the heavyweight chipboard, and as Judy explained, I have to turn it over and cut the other side, but it does cut it. So I'm very happy with this, and it's small, which is nice. You can get it bigger, but I didn't need it. My size books work on that particular size, but my everyday cutter is this cutter. Now, you have to decide. You can get this cutter two ways, with a guide wire or without a guide wire. Some people hate the guide wire because they say their paper gets stuck in it. I do not have this problem, but some people do. So I'm alerting you to it. And I'm going to tell you something about this. This works each and every time. It's wonderful. It has amazing measuring tools. It actually, like, I've learned, it's amazing. It's funny now that I have like a good tool. If I use my steel ruler and this guide, I don't even need the scoreboard. I don't even take out the scoreboard half the time. I can just use this. Yeah. This is an amazing cutter. This is a fantastic cutter. The Guillotine is also good. I'm also going to tell you what I learned from Carrie Martin this week. Fiskars, if your numbers rub off or anything goes wrong, like, you know, like if the measurements rub off, like on the Guillotine, sometimes you use it, for those of us that use this a lot, and I know Susan Tootsie Tucker uses a lot, that her numbers were fading, they'll replace it. They guarantee that for life. So I think this one, I'm trying to remember from I should have looked up the price for you, but if you take a look at these, even on Amazon, without even searching that hard, they're both under $30. Like this one I think is under $15 actually. And I think this was on sale for $22. But I'm guessing. Please take a look at it. But I am very, very happy with both of these. And this is what I should have bought. And had I researched and talked to crafters, they would have told me to buy this one first. And the reason why they would have told me to buy this one first is that this lets you do angular cuts. You only need this one if you use the kind of heavy, heavy materials that I use. If not, this is all you need. This is all you need. And you have to decide if you're the type of crafter who's going to get your paper caught in the wire or not. I like the guide wire because it helps me be sure my paper is straight when I'm cutting. But some people don't like it, and you can get it without it. So just decide for yourself. Those are, I mean, if I just bought these, it's amazing the difference that it would have made in my life. The difference. Oh, yeah. But there are other things that you don't need to spend that kind of money on. So, like for instance, the paper cutters, I should have made that investment right away, and I would have been very happy, and I wouldn't have not only been miserable for 2 years, but I wouldn't have had, you know how many times I had to replace the blades on the We Are Memory Keepers? And this is not at all like that. I have been cutting through such heavy materials. You see that holographic is like 200 pound. And I cut that all the time on here, and I haven't had to do anything yet. It's actually, the difference in product is amazing. Fiskars is really amazing. It's not a Caterpillar, which is better, but it certainly is a fantastic product. This is the other item. Now, this is a We Are Memory Keepers product, but you have to make a decision, and I'm going to say this again. Here's where you have to make a choice. You can either buy this first, and then if you know you're going to be going through a lot of thick chipboard, then you buy the Big Bite, which it goes through very heavy material, and it's a huge, I have it inside. P bought it for me as a gift. It goes through very, very dense, like I can cut through all sorts of things with that thing, and it's a very special tool, but most people just need this. It's got a big hole and a little hole, and it also inserts our eyelets into our tags. I waited a long time to buy this because I found them a little pricey, and I idiotically bought a fuse tool first. You know why? Because I like shaker centers in pocket letters, and it was a mistake. I'm not saying you should never own a fuse tool. They don't work that consistently. They're not that much fun to use. I don't use it all that often. I could practice more and make more shaker envelopes because I don't sew. This I use every day. I should have bought this first. And then, you know what I was using was a dollar store hole punch. And I'm pretty handy with that stuff because I have those, tomboy hands. So I was able to get through a lot of materials I shouldn't have been able to get through. But when I started building books and things at a decent weight chipboard, there was no way I was going to live without this. The other thing is, all right, so here's the reality. For a year and a half, I got away with not using eyelets. I found a way. There are many ways around them. You can buy from Avery the reinforcements. You can even get them in gold glitter. You can make them yourselves. We Are Memory Keepers has a punch that you can buy, so you can punch out in paper and make fake eyelets so that it looks nice. I got around it all sorts of ways, y'all. The reality is, I just should have invested in this. This should have been on my top buy list, and it wasn't. Because I thought, well, that seems like a lot of money for that tool. And now I can't imagine my life without it. So this is again where I was being penny wise, pound foolish. Because I bought a lot of other things that added up to more than this when I use this every single day. So this is a vital tool for most of us. And most of us will tell you that, we can live with a lot of inexpensive tools, but we can't live without this. And if you're doing book construction, you're eventually going to, like heavyweight album construction, you're eventually going to need a big bite, which is the bigger, chunkier version of that. Okay, so that's a thing you have to sort of put an investment in. I'm going to want us to tackle scissors in a different video, but I am going to today link Paper Milkshake's video that she did around Christmas time, which I loved, where she talked about her favorite tools. And I'm going to tell you why scissors are a funny thing. Everyone has their favorites. And if you have arthritic problems, or like me, you live with autoimmune, or you've had a stroke, I have weaker hands. So, and you see, I don't have a brother's candy cut, and I do tons of fussy cutting lately. And I used to be terrible at fussy cutting. So I will tell you that scissors really do matter to me. And I probably own more than I need to. But there's a reason why, and that is that when my hands are tired, I need the springs. Cruz bought them for me, and after watching Teniel's video that I'm linking down below, I knew I needed to get them for myself. And Cruz was shocked I didn't have them, and I didn't. So she bought them for me as a gift for my birthday. And Dina very generously bought me fabric scissors, because I do work with fabric and making fabric flowers, and also I want to make fabric books. But people are really picky about their scissors, and most of us spent the first year using dollar store scissors. Now, that was before Crafter's Corner brought out the little fussy cutting scissors like this. There's our pink, I think. These are We Are Memory Keepers. I got these on sale for like $1.99 or something. No, $1.99, $1.29. I don't know. Hobby Lobby and somewhere else had a sale last year. And if you all remember, I got really lucky and I got the scissors. But now Crafter's Corner has a pair that's just like this in pink. I have not yet tested them out. I hear from lots of people they like them, and they're buying them as their backup mini precision scissors. But we need a separate video just on scissors, because there are real issues around scissors. Most people love the Tim Holtz scissors. That's probably the bulk favorite besides the spring scissors. But I will tell you, it's its own video. So I'm going to link Teniel's down below so you understand why this is its own video. But where can you save some money? Before we end this video, I was hoping to do it in 15 minutes, but there's a few places you can save some money. All right. This is my backup pair. All of us have burned ourselves on our glue guns, right? You're supposed to use a low temp glue gun for paper crafting. And I happen to like a high temp glue gun, which means I'm constantly burning myself because my glue is burning at too high a temperature when I use it. And also, I'm a messy maker. So I have always burnt myself with my glue gun. And so these are fabulous. When they first came out, they were crazy priced, or you could order them from Ali. Now they're at the Crafter's Companion for $1, and these work as well as the fancier ones. So there's where you can save money. Okay, next thing. See this brush? This one came, Jelly Bean got me one, and Cruz got me one. This is from the Dollar Tree. It's $1. This marvels the fan brushes that are used for different inking techniques, different alcohol inking techniques, and also even some gentle fanning for distressing. $1. You don't need to spend more. These work just as well. I have expensive ones for my university. These are just as good. The next place you can save money. These foam dots, foam squares, mounting squares, all of those. There is no quality difference between the ones at Crafter's Corner or your dollar store or Jot than there are at the ones at Tuesday Morning or Michael's. There is no difference in these. I'm sorry, there really isn't. I've tried, and I've really tried. They all work about the same. So if you can get yours for $1 and the same quantity, always check quantity though, folks. Like, for instance, like Jelly Bean just found a way to get me 600 glue dots because I like to use the glue dots for attaching my things to the packaging. And you know, normally 200 are about $3.97, and she was able to get them. She like had some resource to go find. I was like, wait, they come in 600? I don't know where she was, but anyway, I was very excited because I was like, yes, please. Check the amounts to make sure they're equal. Like this only has 48 pieces. This set from Tuesday Morning had, I think, 200 and something. This was $1.99. So this was actually the better deal. So make sure you're doing that. You're checking quantity. Just because they're at the dollar store doesn't mean they're cheaper. But this is a place you can save money because sometimes you can get the exact same amount. These craft clips, if you can get them, are a great deal at Crafter's Corner for $1. You can also get them at your hardware store. That's where I got them at the Holy Land. Do not buy the cute crafty ones. I mean, it's nice that these ones come in pink from Crafter's Corner, but really you just need a clamp. Make sure that they have a coating though. These do. If you get the ones that are just metal with no coating, they're going to make a dent in your work and ruin your work. So there's a little tip. Be careful. Be careful. This is the biggest saving of them all. So for ink blending, so if you start doing some ink blending, like I have my Wendy Vecchi and I blend those inks, you need this kind of blending brush. And the cheapest you'll get them is $10 for a few, and they're $1 at the Dollar Tree or your dollar stores, and they're exactly the same brush. So this is where you save money, and they last just as long, and the care is the same. So do not buy those at craft stores. Buy these at the dollar store, and if you can't get them in your area, ask a crafty friend to get them for you in their area, and just quick pay them and ask them to send them to you. Because this is a huge price difference, and these are just as good. So there's a place you can save money. I think what it comes down to, and it's really simple, the tools we use all the time, nonstop, every day, are the ones where you want to invest in. That doesn't mean the most expensive is the best. It's not always true. Sometimes it's not. You know, you do your research, talk to other crafters before you make a purchase, a big purchase. I'm not talking about $1 purchase, but before you buy your cutters, before you buy your die cutter, you know, talk to people because they've had a lot of experience and they'll be able to offer you their opinion, and talk to several people. And don't be afraid to ask a good maker on YouTube who you don't even know. Post on their channel and just say, what die cutter do you use? What printer do you use? You know, ask them what cardstock they use. They won't object to sharing that with you, and that's how you'll learn what items tend to be the most reliable. I bet you if you pull, I don't know how many people on YouTube who are in our craft community, the majority of people buy a Fiskars paper cutter just because it's affordable, reliable, and guaranteed for life pretty much. So they're great quality. That's what most of us own. You know, there's some debate about, do you buy a Misty Stamp platform? Do you buy a Tim Holtz? You can't even get the Tim Holtz one anymore. There's a lot of debates about things like that. But when it comes to things like the paper cutters, it's pretty much hands down that the Fiskars is, unless you're going to buy a Caterpillar, the Fiskars is the way to go. Last but not least is, do I have it here to show you? I thought I pulled it out. Maybe I didn't because I thought it was too much for one video. No, I pulled it out. This is a mini rotary paper cutter. And I'll tell you what you use that for. In quilting, they use it for cutting circles and for fabric. If you make a lot of the burnt fabric flowers as a crafter, you probably want how do they pronounce it? The AFO brand, the ones that you can use on fabric and paper, because they're highly rated and they're only about $13. Because they cut a circle really easy with the rotary cutter, because cutting those circles with scissors, I know I've done it, it's really hard. The mini rotary cutter is very good. See here? This is an uneven cut that I made, and I made this using my small fussy cutting scissors. I tried using my X-Acto blade knife, but it still couldn't get it clean. For that, you need a mini rotary cutter. Now, the We Are Memory Keeper one is $6. The Tonic one, which is better quality, is $3 and change. So when you're ready to start with projects like this, at this level, do your research. Just because the We Are Memory Keepers, you'd think it'd be cheaper than Tonic. It's not. It's actually like more expensive, and it's not rated half as well. This is rated much better. Now, the truth is that Offa, or however you pronounce it, that one for $13 is considered to be the best, and it's much better even than the Tonic. But you have to ask yourself, as a paper crafter, how often you're going to need that type of tool. So for me, when I did research, this was good enough for what I was going to be using it for. If, however, you're like Janaea and you're going to be doing a lot of bookmaking with fabric, well, then you might want the other one. And this is what I mean. You're going to have to figure these things out once you understand what your choices are. But this is at least part one and gives you an insight into where to put some money and where you can save others. I hope this was helpful. This is the kind of information I wish I had had my first month of crafting. I told y'all, I made a big mistake. I put my money in paper without understanding the tools. And I surely should have bought the tools first and one pad of paper. If you asked me today, Elisha, what would have been the things you bought, the 5 things you bought first? I can tell you exactly what they are. Even before the bookmaking, okay? I would have bought this. I would have bought this. I would have bought a really good set of scissors, probably the Tim Holtz and the spring, because of my hands. That's 4 tools. And my glue gun. That's 5. Those are the ones I would have bought first. I hope this is helpful, y'all. This is part 1, and these are just quick and easy tips. Very simple and very basic. And hopefully I will be able to wrangle some other folks in, and once a week we're going to offer you some tips that we hope will be super helpful and will save you from all the big mistakes we made. All right, y'all. I will see you all tomorrow. It won't be bright and early because your girl's going to keep crafting tonight, which means I will be on late tomorrow. Wishing you a happy and crafty weekend. Thanks so much, y'all. Bye for now.